Hey, fun fact, the temperature this morning in the Twin Cities was warmer than it was in Orlando, Florida. We can't say that very often, particularly not at the end of October. No matter how warm things are at the moment, though, we know that our long, cold winter isn't too far away. And around here, winter is not typically considered a great time to buy or sell a home.
Our next guests, though, say there definitely are advantages and some disadvantages to buying or selling during the winter. We welcome Julie and Daniel DeRoche from DeRoche Realty Group and eXp Realty back to Minnesota Live. Hi, you two.
Good morning.
All right, Daniel, let's start with you. Let's start with the advantages. Tell me the advantages to listing a home, selling a home, buying a home right now.
Well, as a seller, you're going to have a little less competition because, most people like to get that going in the spring and summertime. So a little less competition. Buyers that are out looking right now are usually a little more aggressive. Like they really need something. They're usually don't think, well, I got nothing to do. I'll go home shopping once it starts snowing.
Yeah.
So both sides are, it's just a little easier, a little less stress, a little less competition, a little less movement, a little less going on. It's just a little easier, a little more calm, really. It just slows things down. You have a little more time for your inspection and so forth.
Well, because things were so fiery hot and so intense. I mean, last time we had you guys on, we were talking about the fact people were foregoing inspections. They were making offers that were sometimes 6 figures higher than asking. And so it was this like real need to, if you want this house, you get in. People can slow down, take a deep breath, do a little maybe research now.
Exactly right. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And Julie, it's a lot of timing, a lot of factors at play, though, when it comes to this.
There is. I mean, I think when we're talking about when it's busy, it takes longer to get an inspector in. So in the winter, inspectors are usually more available. So now we're getting back to the season where we can ask for inspections, but then we can do a 5-day inspection instead of maybe a 10-day inspection that we were having to do before because you couldn't get the inspector in. It was just trying to get the inspector in. So now you can ask for that inspection. You have more leverage to ask for things like that, but you have the timing to get those inspectors in. Also, when you're getting a mortgage, in the spring, your mortgage broker is probably dealing with a ton of clients trying to also get mortgages. So you have more time with your mortgage broker. They're going to probably get everything done quicker. The banks are going to be able to get things done quicker for you on that process. So you can probably close quicker and get things done quicker in the winter. Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind is we're coming up on the holidays.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So people do forget about that. You have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, you have New Year's. So those are business days off where the banks aren't working, inspectors aren't working, that kind of thing. So you have to keep that in mind.
Is there an advantage to getting it done like before, at the end of a year versus waiting for the new year?
Yeah, there's
gonna
a tax advantage,
right?
Yeah, you get to write off your closing costs and all that stuff. So you can get some more write-offs in there right before the end of the year if you do close before the end of the year.
I also wonder about contractors. I mean, I would imagine their season typically quiets down a little bit this time of year too, right?
It does, yeah. So if you're looking at a house and you want to do some renovations, or you're thinking, hey, we're going to buy this as a fixer-upper, you could probably get more contractors in there. There more available contractors than they would in the spring and the summer.
Absolutely.
So some of the things, though, that people may not think about when there's snow on the ground, that makes there's certain things that are happening in our houses, on our houses, around our houses that you can't really see if there's snow on the ground.
That's probably the biggest challenge in buying in the winter, especially if you're, right before you go do your showing it snowed or right before your inspection it snowed. You have to think about those temperatures. Like air conditioners cannot be run in the winter, so you can't test it. So you're relying on that seller being honest and the seller's disclosure being honest. You can't really, the inspectors, a lot of them aren't even going to get up on a roof. It's dangerous and slippery.
Yeah.
So trying to find an inspector that's willing to brush the snow off and really inspect a roof in a few spots. Big one is swimming pools. Like, how do you inspect a swimming pool? So you really, again, have to rely on that seller being honest or getting receipts from them proving that it was properly winterized. Or we can get into things like where we do, like, in the contract, it'll say that there's some money held back in escrow.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you.
Yeah, when you get to that summer months, like even the yard, like what if they got a couple dogs? Does the lawn actually look good under the snow? How were the pictures photoshopped? So those types of things you really have to be careful for and be diligent in your ask. It's just you could have some bad surprises come summer.
I guess on the flip side of that, with winter, if you're touring a house, you can tell if the windows are bad, right? If it's like really cold or if the heat's not working.
Yep, absolutely. Our own home, we moved into a brand new home and you get into these super cold months and we have a triple zone and one of them's just not running right. So you wouldn't know that. You
Yeah.
wouldn't even think about it in the summer.
Yeah.
If the house is cool, the house is cool, you know. But in the winter, if it's nice and cold out, the inspector, and they have like, why am I drawing a blank? Infrared cameras that can actually tell the temperatures coming out and stuff, and those things are very helpful in the winter for sure.
I guess ice dams too would be another thing that you could see that.
You can
Yep.
see that on the roof. Yep.
And if they've got the wires on their roof to heat the snow, it's
Yeah.
they typically take those down in the summer. You know, you wouldn't know.
I didn't even think that if you were buying a house in the winter that you could ask for some sort of guarantee for something like a pool.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think of the homes that I've never bought a house with a pool, but I mean, that's kind of where you guys come in, that's something people can do.
Yeah.
Versus
Not every-
just risking, I assume it looks okay and will be okay when we go to fill it
Yeah,
up.
because you look at those beautiful summer pictures, it's like, oh, this looks
Yeah,
fabulous.
right,
Then,
Yeah.
you know, that was taken 3 years earlier when the liner looked good. So having those
new.
pieces in the purchase agreement are very important.
The caveat, though, too, is you can ask for that guarantee, but if for some reason the summer comes and the pool doesn't work, and then the sellers aren't willing to do anything, it's just who's willing to take like legal action against the other person as well. So you have to keep that in mind. It's not like a guarantee that they're going to come and
Right.
fix everything.
Well, that's where that escrow comes in. Like if you
If you do
and
the
again,
escrow, then it's there.
in these months, you might be able to negotiate a little bit better. So you know, have $10,000 or $15,000 escrowed for pools, air conditioners, roofs, stuff like that.
Well, and you would think if the seller is being honest with you, they're not going to mind that, right? They're
Right.
not going to mind giving you the pool company that's done all of this, maybe a red flag if they're like, no, it is what it is.
We do it ourselves. Uncle Bob does all of our maintenance. He's no longer with us.
That's exactly right. All right, well, thank you guys. Good stuff to think about as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's also the piece that like nobody really wants to move in the winter either, but you know.
We moved in the winter.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
did too.
ours was a job transfer, and
Yeah.
we ended up here, and we moved with the
It
house.
all works
and
out
snow,
fine
all of it,
either
of
way.
course. Yep.
Well, so if you'd like to connect with Julie and Daniel, you can do so. We have set up a link on our website. You can connect with a member of the DeRoche team at eXp Realty. Just go to our website, minnesotalive.com.
All right, after the break, we are going to